Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Monday, April 24th. So today we will see the moon move out of this Gemini energy and move into her place of power in Cancer energy. Mondays are ruled over by the moon, and having a Monday or a moon day in its place of power in Cancer energy definitely suggests that we are going to be more focused on our inner realm, our emotional processing, more than anything else. We do have the moon going void, of course, at 8:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will be locking into that Cancer energy at 3 p.m. So we do have a little bit of time there where things get shaky, things get kind of unstable, where we kind of question everything that we were semi-sure about, and where we kind of lose our footing, we lose our stability. We really are starting to realize where we're not so sure about some of the aspects in our lives, especially with what it is that we want to build and create from here. Now, there are 12 different aspects here today, so definitely a very busy day in the cosmos, and 8 of them involve the moon. The moon in Gemini is going to make a beautiful interaction with Pluto, who of course is in this Aquarian energy. This is a positive interaction, which does suggest that we're having some very powerful aha moments. We're unpacking a lot in that psyche, a lot of memories, a lot of flashbacks, a lot of realizations on where it is that we've built certain blockages in our mental plane, limiting beliefs that are really kind of crunching on us right now and showing us where it is that we have more fears, doubts, and insecurities than anything else. Because this is a positive interaction, we are going to solve some issues here. We're going to have some aha moments that are going to be pretty profound, change the course of not only our inner narrative and our emotions, but change the plans and strategies that we had put into place in wanting to actually move forward in this new pursuit of happiness, of passion, of desire. The moon will then sextile, which is a beautiful energy, with Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, blessings. Jupiter, of course, in this Aries energy, really pushing for new opportunities to be brought to life, for new versions of ourselves to be firmly anchored into the here and now. And emotionally speaking, we are definitely picking ourselves up and dusting ourselves off. Jupiter brings the optimism back, brings the, I'm going to say, confidence back, the self-esteem back. Yes, we might go a little bit overboard with what it is that we dream to be possible. However, that is a much better situation than not feeling like we are good enough, not feeling like we have the power or the ability to make any kind of changes at all. Now, Mercury, who is retrograde in this Taurus energy, is going to make an interaction with Venus, who rules over the Taurus energy that Mercury is in. And Venus, of course, is in Gemini that Mercury rules over. So this is a mutual reception in astrology, meaning that the rulers have switched places and are standing in each other's power and comfort zone. And what we get here is a little bit of a tension point, but this is going to illuminate for us where it is that we're kind of struggling on what choice to make, what path to walk, what decision to make. There is this, cha-cha-cha dance that we've been doing with Venus being in this Gemini energy. We aren't really able to take a direct approach going after what it is that we want. A lot of that, again, is because Mars is in Cancer as well. So the masculine and feminine energies of the zodiac are in positions right now that kind of prevent us from going directly after what it is that we want. Instead, we're kind of circling around it. We're kind of, one day we think we want it, the next day, nope, we don't want it at all. There's a realization that comes with this particular, I'm going to say, back and forth, this ebb and flow, this seesawing between choices and decisions and paths and directions. It needs to create confusion. We're in a retrograde, we're in eclipse season. Confusion is the name of the game. We have to surrender to the confusion and not necessarily push ourselves to make sense of it, to figure it all out. Instead, just kind of act as the observer and see the hints and clues that are being triggered and activated and presented to us on how all of these things are going to work out. Now, of course, communication is not at its best, so we're not able to even articulate what it is that we're thinking and feeling correctly within ourselves, let alone be able to convey that message correctly to other people. But we're still trying to make an effort to understand ourselves. We're trying to make an effort to understand other people. It just seems like we're missing the point. We're missing the target. There's a lot more vagueness going on than there is direct communication, and that can trigger a lot of fears, doubts, and insecurities, especially where our relationships are concerned. The sun in Taurus energy comes up to, sits next to, bumps into, conjuncts the north node, the true node in this Taurus energy. So of course, this shines a brand new bright light on the challenges that we're currently facing, mostly where it is that we're being challenged to grow. We're being challenged to do better. We're being challenged to improve. We are being challenged to identify what it is that we actually want out of life, what it is that is exciting and inspiring to us. And it is really, because of this Taurus energy, shining a bright light on where it is that we have a huge either want or need for stability. And many of us, because we're in very unstable times right now, stability is the name of the game. So with this Taurus energy giving us the ability to build and create something new, especially in recognizing that, you know, having safety, security, stability in our lives would provide us with the foundation that we need, and actually creating a reality that feels good for us, we're likely going to be illuminated to all the things that aren't working in our lives, that aren't providing us with happiness and joy and safety and security, in order for us to have an epiphany, an aha moment on where it is that we got to boss that, create better routines, relationships, dynamics in our lives, so that we can feel safe and secure and stable within our own physical realms. The moon will square with Neptune. This is the last aspect that the moon in Gemini is going to make before going void, of course. And a square is not a favorable one. It does create tension and conflict. We're getting into the boxing ring, so to speak. And Neptune, who is in Pisces energy in its place of power, is very dreamy, very creative, very much about our intuition, but this is a square. This is a blockage. So this tells me that we're not going to be feeling the greatest. We're going to have a lot of rapid thoughts, rapid emotions that can be very overwhelming at times. We're kind of disconnected from our higher selves, from our intuition. We can't seem to hold a vision on what it is that we actually want to pursue. And because of this negativity, let's say, we can kind of want to detach, disassociate, kind of avoid and escape life altogether. The moon being in Gemini energy, of course, has 1,000,001 questions. And because we kind of feel detached from ourselves and from our spiritual guides at the moment, we're really kind of being kind of left out in left field. That's how it can feel anyways. Because this is the last aspect that the moon will make before going void, of course, it really doesn't set us up for a lot of safety and security and stability while the moon is void. It's kind of triggering us to really push ourselves inward, to reflect, to rest, to recalibrate on what it is that we actually want to pursue from here. Again, it's very hard when you're disconnected from your higher self and from your intuition to make those kinds of judgment calls, those types of decisions. And so, you know, what I will say is that it would be a good time to kind of reflect inwards and kind of grasp where it is that you're overwhelmed with life, with the decisions, the roles, the responsibilities that you currently have on your plate, and recognizing where it is that you're overwhelmed and where it is that you want to run away from certain circumstances can definitely illuminate to you where it is that change is needed the most. So the moon goes void, and then we have Venus interacting with Pluto. So this is always super, super intense. A quick reminder, Venus and Pluto kind of kicked off 2023 with their interactions. And of course, Venus rules over 2023, being a vibration of 7. So we are definitely going to be illuminated to tension in our relationships, tension in our interactions, We could definitely be dabbling in the not so nice thoughts and feelings. We could be triggered and activated where jealousy is concerned, where maybe we have a fear of losing certain things or certain people. There is a suspicion that we have that we just can't put our finger on. We kind of feel like we're missing something, like there's a truth being hidden from us, or there's details being hidden from us. And it's really kind of illuminating for us where it is that there's more fear than there is security. And there's more doubts than there is surety, especially where particular relationships are concerned. And so there is this realization, this recognition, if you will, on where it is that we are holding back of being able to really identify what it is that we want, need, and desire, because we don't necessarily believe that the people that are in our lives that we want these elements from are capable of giving us what it is that we want to ask for. And so then we start questioning how healthy our energy exchanges are with the particular relationships that are popping off. And so there is this want and need and desire to kind of communicate and express what it is that we're lacking. However, with Mercury retrograde, we're not the best communicators. So then we kind of get more tight-lipped than we should. And we keep a lot of those important realizations, those important topics and themes to ourselves. So right after that happens, we have Venus interacting with Mars. So the feminine and masculine energies kind of coming together. And this is I'm not going to say a pleasant experience, because I don't think it will be. We have Venus and Gemini energy very divided on what it is that she wants out of life, where happiness is concerned, where her relationships are concerned, where her ultimate dream is concerned. And then we have Mars over here, who is kind of trigger happy, can't wait to go ahead and be in a more I'm going to say more powerful position to identify very clearly and confidently what it is that he actually wants to pursue in life. And then, of course, have the support and the encouragement of the universe to actually move forward, take action out in the world to actually go after it. Considering the fact that Mars is in this Cancer energy, a water sign, there is a lot of ebb and flow. There is a cha-cha-cha. There is a back and forth. And a lot of this back and forth is trying to identify what it is that we actually need to take care of ourselves versus what it is that we feel obligated to do to take care of other people. There is boundaries being tested here. There are choice points that we are arriving at that is adding a little bit more pressure onto us to figure out what it is that we actually want to do with our lives. And so this could definitely illuminate a lot of discontentment, a lot of unhappiness, a lot of just unsure thoughts and feelings. Again, the moon is void, so we're starting to question everything. And then lucky for us, the moon goes ahead and bumps into Chiron. So yes, the moon in Gemini is still very void, of course, but having a positive interaction is always a good thing while the moon is void. It is helping us out. It is providing a little bit of support and encouragement. And with Chiron, the wounded healer, we are definitely making some progress here. Now, progress is often made by sitting in the funk, realizing what it is that we no longer want to experience, what it is that we don't want to have in our lives anymore, what isn't working for us. And of course, that is the major key on finding out what it is that we would like to create in its place. And so there is a certain amount of growth, a certain amount of improvement taking place on recognizing what it is that we actually want, need, and desire. So 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when the moon locks into Cancer energy. We're definitely going to be moving into the heart space. Emotions are definitely going to be more intense than they have been, if you can even believe that. And we are definitely going to be a little bit more introverted than normal. Now, the moon in Cancer is going to make a semi-square, so a little bit of a tension point with Mercury. Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, retrograde in this Taurus energy, having us take a good look at what it is that we've built, what it is that we've created, what it is that we've already brought into existence, and figure out whether or not we are still aligned with these particular elements or not. Now, a semi-square does suggest that there is going to be a major internal conflict between our heart and our head. And, you know, with all the intensities being thrown at us right now, it is going to be a little bit of a roller coaster to figure out what it is that we have to do, what it is that we have to change, what it is that we have to identify in our lives in order for our heart and our head to be in a little bit more of an alignment, a little bit more of an agreement. The moon will go ahead and interact with Pluto. So Pluto, being the great transformer himself, is going to illuminate for us where it is that some blockages, some fears, some doubts, some insecurities are alive and well, preventing us from actually moving forward. Now, Pluto being in this Aquarian energy, a lot of the major topics and themes are around boundaries, because the Aquarian energy is trying to show us where it is that we have to stop putting our own wants, needs, and desires on the back burner in order for us to do the things that we think other people want us to do. And the Aquarian energy that, you know, wants to free us from some of these restrictions, some of these interactions, some of these obligations, we need to identify where it is that we're suffering, where it is that we're feeling held back and restricted. And the moon in Cancer, of course, is very focused on other people. And again, one of the downfalls of Cancer energy is kind of showing up too much for other people and not showing up enough for ourselves, and very focused on what it is that we need to create in our lives in order to nurture and nourish ourselves back to a place of safety, security, and stability. So this is very likely that it's not going to be a fun aspect. There is a lot of intensities going on in our emotions, illuminating for us what absolutely has to change. And you can find that by realizing the tension, the dread, I'm going to say, anger that we feel by having to show up and do things that we've committed to that we're no longer in alignment with anymore. And again, just keep in the back of your mind, this is all about boundaries. So shortly after, the moon will go ahead and semi-square Uranus. Uranus is the great awakener, and in this Taurus energy, trying to show us where it is that we have too tight of a grip on the life in which we've already created, even though we may have already identified that we're tired of it, that we don't want certain aspects or elements of it anymore. There is this, I'm going to say, unconscious death grip that we have on the old version of ourselves, the old lives that we've created, old routines, old relationships, old resources, old money matters, old dreams, old projects, old visions, and recognizing where it is that we've got to get out of our own way. Normally, Uranian energy brings us an aha moment, brings us an epiphany, brings us a breakthrough. However, this is a semi-square, so it is going to illuminate for us where it is that we're not feeling so close to some of the elements that we've already created. The moon being in Cancer, of course, is really having us all up in our feels and in our heart space about it. And this is going to definitely, I'm going to say, have us detach from our physical realms and move inward, be a little bit more introverted in order to kind of sort through our thoughts and our feelings, find a little bit more of a stable place to actually be operating from before we can get real with ourselves and understand where it is that we're actually blocking our own progress. The last thing that we have here today is the moon in Cancer, sextiling, which is a beautiful, beautiful energy with the true node, the north node in this Taurus energy. So the true node is our soul path. It's where we have to kind of get on the right path in order to reach our soul's potential, our soul's mission, our soul's meaning, our soul's purpose. The fact that the moon in Cancer, that has us very connected to our intuition, very connected to our emotions, very connected to what it is that we have to do for ourselves. This is speaking very highly that there's been a realization on what it is that we've been lacking, where it is that we've been too involved with other people's lives, not involved enough with our own lives, and where it is that we have to get back to the basics of doing what we need to do for ourselves in our mind space, in our emotional field, and of course, in our physical body. Being in Taurus season, we are very connected to our physical realms, to our physical bodies through the five senses, and kind of listening to your body and recognizing where it is that you've been too distracted with other worldly things means that there's a realization on what it is that your body is lacking, what it is that you need to make more time for, where it is that you have to be a little bit more concerned with your own health and wellness, and where it is that maybe you have to change your routines, change your perspective in order to put the focus back on nurturing yourself back to a place of safety, security, and stability.